You're listening to Happy Hour Hustle, a bi-weekly podcast featuring the musings and witty remarks of the one and only Kim Bodie. We can promise at least 2 terrible jokes out of Kim and at least 10 minutes of incredible thought leadership from some amazing and influential guests. So grab a glass of iced red wine and join us for a wild ride. Here's Kim.
Welcome everyone to Happy Hour Hustle. We are talking, actually one of my favorite topics. When 834 first started out, we were run by interns practically. It was myself, Adrian Wallace, who I'm sure a lot of you know, and then an army of interns. And that was before we were able to pay them. So I very appreciate those individuals. I would never dream of doing that nowadays. But so we're here talking with Delaney Mackenzie, who is our communications associate, and technically an intern, although she's gonna stay on with us once she graduates. She doesn't have a choice. I'm not sure if we've talked about that yet. So, but anyway, we're gonna talk about rocking your next internship. I feel like Delaney's a bit of an expert on this, because how many internships have you had?
This is only my third.
Your third, really? Yeah, but you also had, wait a second, do you count the one that was a job? You've had like several.
It was 2 years long.
Okay.
So I did start out as an intern, and then I stayed on for like a year and a half after.
Because they couldn't do it without you. Yeah.
I was still called the intern though, the whole
Yeah,
time.
see, and that's another thing too I would like to address. I feel like there's a better name for that. We're, for the purpose of this podcast, and so, you know, for like the Google search and all things digital, we are calling it an intern, but we refer to our interns as associates, because they're doing real work, and they are in, you know, if you're hiring them or you're utilizing them and having them stuff envelopes, and A, you're a dick. B, like, they're much more useful if you actually take the degree that they have and then put it to use. And I personally would say, like, when you are lucky enough to be able to bring an intern on into your company, your agency, your firm, whatever, taking the time to really like teach them and mentor them is really honestly like your job. And I think if you're going to make that commitment to the intern, then that's the very least you can give them out of that, you know, whole internship. Because remember, they're also paying to be there because they have to for the school credit. So, okay, Delaney, what is your job title and where do you work?
My job title is Communications Associate, and I work here at 834.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so how did you first learn about 834 or me?
The
same thing.
I feel like I learned about you before 834. I am heavily involved in Grand Valley's PRSSA chapter, and so when I met Adrian Wallace my freshman year on campus, she had talked about 834 and the relationship she has with you, and that you guys like teamed up together, and she like was here assisting help form this agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sophomore year, I got involved in Grand PR, which is our student-run public relations firm, and you guys are like
shout out to them.
Yes, our like sponsor agency, like our parent agency.
Parent agency, yeah.
Yes. So we've like
the only child I'll ever have.
plus 7 dogs.
Yeah, 7 dogs. That too, but you know.
But you've generously hosted several of our events here. One of the biggest events we do every year is Create-a-thon, where we stay overnight here for 24 hours and we crank out campaigns for local nonprofits. Grand PR celebrated their 10th anniversary last year, and we hosted that here. So I've been here a lot without working.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we put all your time together, you might actually like have been here longer than some of our employees. Like, I will say I do love Create-a-thon. And did you guys not win an award for that? Or what was it that you got?
We did present on it.
That's what I was thinking of.
At PRSSA National Conference last year in Austin, Texas. Our CEO, Sabrina Antcliffe, shout out, led a presentation because we were one of very few student-run firms in the nation to have held a Create-a-thon.
You were asked to present, correct?
Yes. Yep.
See, that is a big deal.
Yes.
That's a big deal. So, okay, so our next segment is our icebreaker. And so we like to ask really dumb questions and then see how you answer. Okay, if you could throw spaghetti at anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Probably Donald Trump.
Donald Trump?
Can we
No,
get political today?
you're allowed to say that. I don't really think anyone would be surprised. So I would also throw spaghetti at him and other things. Okay, let's talk a little bit about internships. So I want to hear your best internship experience, which is obviously here, and then your worst internship experience. And then I have some fun stories to share as well. So let's talk a little bit about what makes a good internship, and then we can kind of go into like some of those experiences.
Yeah, so what makes a really good internship, I feel like revolves a good relationship. Like with you, your boss, all of your supervisors, you guys need to have really strong communication. You need to be able to ask for feedback and have the ability to check in and see how you can be improving and what kind of growth to expect. I think it's very important to discuss what you want to learn during your experience also, so they know what your interests are and they can help you, because at the end of the day, I am here to learn as a student, and that's the purpose of having an internship. So what makes a bad internship?
Yeah, please tell me. Is it stuffing envelopes? Although I did that all yesterday. Chelsea and I did that yesterday, the day before. So
Yeah,
it's not like we're beneath it. So
I didn't even have to touch them.
I mean, you did do the address spreadsheet, so.
It's okay. A bad internship, I've had supervisors who never checked in on me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it would go on like for months that no one even knew what I was doing. So like I could have not been working for
On one of your
weeks.
internships, didn't you say on your last day you were the only one in the office and you actually locked it up?
It was really sad.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yep. So it was I didn't really get a lot of closure.
So, right, I can imagine. So talk a little bit about the work that you're doing here at 834.
Okay, so luckily I've been phasing in slowly to all of my tasks, which I really appreciate. I really like the transition process here. So I'm slowly retaining all of our clients' social media accounts. I think by next week I will have all of them. And then I do a lot of research. I assist in creating promotional campaigns for some of our clients. I'll be assisting Bree with public relations matters, doing some website updates. I feel like I just float around wherever is needed.
And that's kind of like kind of the role of the communications associate, is to kind of be a floater and see where anybody kind of needs help and kind of jump in to do that, which I think is cool, at least, and you'll have to tell me if you think so or not, you can be honest, because you get to do so many different things. You know, you might be doing social media one day, you might be writing a press release another day, you might be following up with media, you might be going to, a media interview, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like that's what really drew me to this industry, that every day is different, and that's why I wanted to have an internship at an agency for that exact reason. Like, I wanted to learn as much as possible, like, very quickly, like, just be thrown into it.
So you've talked about your good and your bad. So how about like why do you feel like an internship is important? Because I know like for at least my degree, it was required, I think that I did one, and it's required for yours, and maybe tell everybody kind of what your degree is in.
Okay, yep, so I go to Grand Valley. I'm a senior majoring in advertising and public relations, and my emphasis is advertising. And in our program, you are required to have one internship before you graduate. But I feel like everyone should have a minimum of 2 internships under your belt by the time you graduate, because when you're applying for jobs, they want to see how much experience you have. And if you only had one internship for like 1 semester of college, it doesn't really show that you were able to learn a lot outside of the classroom. And that's like, this is where I'm learning the most, honestly. So I feel like it's very important that this is where students choose to spend their time, and to make sure that they're taking advantage of all the opportunities they can to learn.
And it works too. I mean, we offered you this job, and not even as an internship. You're using it obviously as an internship, for school purposes, but we offered you this job back in
October 29th.
October 2019, and then we waited for her. And honestly, it was because of the experience that you had. Your experience at internships outweighed some of the experience we get for people that are applying for jobs here. And so for us, we knew you were already familiar with the culture because you basically slept in this office, and by basically I mean you have. And you obviously, are familiar with the work we do, and but also you embody our core values, which are like we work harder than the rest, and among other things. And I think us, for us, when we were looking at hiring for the communications associate position, when we looked at that, and I actually pursued you, I believe, because I knew, yes, because I knew of you and your experience, yeah.
Adrian had connected with me. You connected us together, and then the next day I interviewed. So
right. Yeah. So I was really
24 hours, threw together my cover letter, revamped my resume, threw it all together, but it worked.
And I will say this too. So not even just the internships, but the fact that I saw Delaney out and about with your involvement with, Grand PR and your involvement with GV, Grand Valley's Public Relations Student Society of America, not to mention all the extracurricular stuff that you do. I mean, to see that you, still as a student, are doing these internships, are getting paid for them, then on top of that are balancing school with all your other, with all this other stuff that you're doing, that is literally agency life. I mean, it's a balancing and juggling a gazillion different things at once, and trying not to get stressed out or run yourself into the ground.
I feel like I've grown to thrive off of a chaotic, busy schedule. So I'm honestly more concerned what's going to happen when I graduate and I only have this job.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you involved in other things. That'll be fine. But that was one of my biggest, when I got my first job out of college, that was my biggest adjustment, was I was like, I'm going one place every single day. This is so weird. I was actually more tired on that schedule than I was when I was in school, because I was like, I don't know if I'm just bored, or I quickly filled up my schedule, but that was the hardest adjustment for me. Absolutely.
We'll have to schedule some things in advance.
Yeah. Well, you're already joining a volleyball team, so we're fine there. Yeah. So what would you say your hardest part about applying for an internship was? Or better yet, you know what, not hardest part, what's the advice that you have for other students that are pursuing internships?
I feel like the biggest piece I would give to others, and that this is something that I've received myself and during the job application process, is when you're looking for jobs, if you see that you don't hit every single requirement and what they're looking for in the job, still apply.
Yep.
Apply. If you don't think that you'd love to work at a place, but you get an interview, go get interview experience. Just get out there as much as possible, so then when you are at the right fit for yourself, it'll just be very natural for you to go into that process.
What do you feel like you've learned in internships that you never learned in the classroom?
Oh, quite a few things. Communication, I would say, internal communication with agencies, and then also ways to be communicating with your clients to ensure very successful relationships.
And what do you feel like you've learned the most since you've been here in this internship, maybe versus others? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going off script here.
Oh.
Besides muscle up dogs.
Yes. Good thing I had that on my resume before coming in here. I think the one thing that I have learned since coming here is how much I just love the culture here, and how I guess I never realized how important that is when having a job and working full time. I guess I didn't really notice that was missing in my past internships, where I'm just called the intern instead of Delaney or something at the office. I feel like this is what makes me this is the best part of my day, coming here all day
so nice.
and then going to class later.
We paid her to say that. I mean, I did. No one else did, but it's fine. So what would you say is more valuable in your opinion? Do you think it's internships themselves? Do you think it's, being involved in, Grand PR and GVPR, SSA? Or, do you say you really can't make a choice? It's got to be both.
I would definitely say both. It's definitely a little bit of both, but I will say internship experience probably translates a little bit more on your resume. It definitely says a lot that you're able to balance like a full load of classes in addition to being in PRSSA and Grand PR. And if you're the type of person that has all those leadership positions on your resume, you're like working harder than the rest and you're going to stand out. But also when you have an internship, that's where you're applying all of the things that you're learning in those to real world experience.
Well, and like, you know, to your point, like that is something, well, and that's something I notice on obviously your resume, but then also having seen you around because you are very visible in the things that you're doing. And then also knowing that you weren't afraid of that, like the hard work, and you weren't afraid of balancing all these different things. And I think, I think the biggest adjustment for me, like I said, was, you know, being dedicated to one thing once I graduated. What are you most looking forward to once you graduate? No more schoolwork.
I am excited to have like free time. Haven't read a book for pleasure in a long time. It was really funny during my interview here. Chris asked me what do I do for fun 3 different times because each time I was like, I don't really have the free time right now.
What's fun?
Chris has a terrible memory.
That is true. Chris just wasn't trying to grill you. He just couldn't remember that he asked that same question 4 times. We've since taken him out of interview processes, but you know. What's your favorite part about the team here?
That we're all friends. Like they're not just my coworkers. I feel like
That's weird. Nobody's my friend. What are you guys not telling me? What's happening here? Are you guys hanging out without me?
They're just being nice because I'm
Yeah, that's true. I did reject the pot. I mean, it was just too much. Okay, well, now we're gonna do something more fun. Well, is there anything else that you wanna add? Like any other piece of advice that you have for, you know, current students, you know, even young professionals? Because like I said, you I think sometimes have it more together than some of these newer grads that, you know, are coming into the workforce and don't really know what to do with themselves. Because you being involved with PRSSA is going to really like lead you right into getting involved with PRSA, which you already are. You're on, you know, that's because I keep making you do things, but you're on the proof committee the planning committee. You're helping with like our different speakers and stuff like that. So, I mean,
I joined the communications committee last fall also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Everyone on 834 is on everything. So, did you just like do a...
I did.
Yeah, okay. Just checking.
Hope y'all caught that.
Yeah, I just hope everyone knows how dorky that was. But do you have anything else that any last piece of advice?
My advice to all the students out there or just like recent grads looking for jobs right now is don't get discouraged during the job process. It's going to take a lot of time, but make sure like you're putting yourself out there. Like go to networking events, find people that you want to work with one day, connect with them on LinkedIn, ask them to get coffee. Like don't even talk about jobs, just get to know who the people are, what the cultures are like at different offices, and then when the time comes around, if they have an opening, you will already stand out from other people.
Yep.
So that's my advice.
All right. You get to choose lightning round, dinner party, or lightning round favorite things?
Favorite things.
All right. Favorite breed of dog?
Husky.
What's yours, Erica? Oh, that's right. It's not you, Sarge, who is sitting there here staring at her. It's fine. Best place for sushi?
Ando.
Oh, really? We should. That's right by our office. We should all go there. Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty. What color is math?
Yellow.
Mine is red. Cilantro, yes or no?
Yes.
Half hour early to a party or half an hour late?
Half hour late.
Makes sense. If you're the first one there, it seems like you really don't have friends. Okay, this is totally a row question. Crawfish, crayfish, crawdads, or something else?
Crawdads.
Really, crawdads?
No.
Oh, I was like, what the hell is that? I don't even know what any of these things are.
Crawfish.
They just all sound gross.
They're all the same thing. It's just like how do you
Are they all the same thing?
Yes.
It's a trick question.
I think people like down south say crayfish.
Oh, what do you do? I was like, which one of these will you eat? And I was like, none of those. Gross. Well, whatever. It's stupid.
I do say soda. I don't really know why, but
That is weird. Favorite day of the year?
of the whole year.
Whole year.
New Year's Eve.
Really?
Yes.
Best holiday song.
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Oh,
Every
that's,
time.
that's so nice. One great friend or many acquaintances?
One great friend.
Good one. All eyes on you or completely ignored?
Probably just completely.
That's never going to happen here. Okay, what's your favorite GR patio?
Patio. Luna. Not Luna.
Luna doesn't have a
Donkey.
patio.
Yep,
Which one? Donkey? Okay. So again, with like the east side, east town, whatever. Okay, Delaney, thank you. We value you as an associate. We're so excited that you're forced to stay on with us. I will say too, my last parting words on internships. Definitely get out there. You know, I've been approached by many students who have asked me just even if they could email me and ask me different pieces of advice. I absolutely have no problem doing that. You have to follow up multiple times, but I love to sit down with students or you know, even young professionals just to find out what they're thinking, or you know, just to get their take on stuff, because having been in the industry as long as I have, you can be a little jaded. So it's pretty cool to see, you know, individuals coming into the workforce that are just so excited. And I will say, like, a plug for agency, it's not for everybody. It is really hard work, but it's just so rewarding. I think when you get that win or that piece of earned media, or you know, like you're generating leads for your clients or whatever, and you know, you're seeing like just how happy they are, I think that legitimizes and really gives you like purpose in what you're doing. So, all right, that wraps up this episode. This was your first happy hour hustle, wasn't it? Yes. Woo! All right, so you've officially been hustled, and till next time, guys, we will see you on the download.